Hi everybody! I'm not quite sure how to start the intro to this video because there is going to be something made for the captain's quarters in this video, but it's not going to be made by me. This is a collaboration between myself and Laurie. I will make sure to put a link to her video and her channel in the description box below so you can check out her side of the collab as well. What I will be making in this video is something for Laurie. The collaboration is actually going to be more of a swap. She's making something for my project, the captain's quarters, and I'm making something for her project. And the item she asked me to make is very special. I'm going to be creating a doll that is in the likeness of her dad. If you're familiar at all with Laurie's channel, you will know that she started her channel working alongside her dad, who she referred to as Dollhouse Dad. A few years ago, he passed away, and she was really wanting a doll that looked like him for her projects in her collection, really as a memory item. I'm a little nervous to create this doll because I've never made a doll of a real life person before. They've always been of characters. And because of that, I want to do it in a very special way. I have so many videos over how to put doll bodies together and how to make clothes that I didn't feel like doing this tutorial style would bring any new information. And because making dolls can be a little awkward, like their arms and limbs end up going in all different directions, I just decided to do a more artistic approach to showing you the creation of Dollhouse Dad. So I hope you enjoy this short film. I have a few things that I want to talk about in more detail after the short film, so stay tuned for that. And also, I already have the package from Laurie, which contains the item for the captain's quarters, so we're going to be unboxing that and putting it into the project. So I hope you'll stick around. enjoyed my short film on the making of Dollhouse Dad, make sure you go over to Laurie's channel if you want to see her reaction when she sees him first in person. So now I can show you a few highlights from that build where I'm going to voice over and give you a bit more detail on what I did to make this happen. Even though I may have made it look like I painted the doll's face while it was sitting in the chair, that is not true. It is just way too detailed of a process to do it like that. But I wanted to show you some highlights from painting Laurie's dad. From his photos, I could tell he had these really incredible cheekbones, so I wanted to make sure and get those. I'm using a process of using some masking tape to get a really sharp line, and then I'm shading in just below where I create that line. While I'm doing the rest of the facial hair with some wool from my needle felting, I decided to go ahead and paint on the eyebrows since they are so small. And then of course I had to show adding the eyes. The eyes is always where the doll really comes to life. Painting where the hair is going to go is something I've only really started doing recently, but I really think it helps give me a guide, and it also helps the hair look more rooted once I apply it. So I wanted to show you that part of the process. I did this for the facial hair and for the hair on his head. If you ever want more information about how to make dolls, I have an entire doll playlist on my channel. So now I'm going to tell you how I made the glasses because I'd never made them before and they're incredibly easy. To make a pair of glasses with this method, you're going to need a couple pairs of pliers, one that can cut wire and one pair that has this half round shape. As you can see here, this is the most important set that you need to have. You'll also need a toothpick, some thin wire. I'm using a thin copper wire, and I'm going to be using diamond glaze for this, but you can also use any type of clear glue. To begin, you're going to cut a length of wire that's about 5 inches long. This is going to be longer than we need, but it makes it easier to hold on to the glasses. Clamp the rounded pliers down about in the center of the wire and about center way up the rounded pliers. You're going to pull the wire underneath so that it goes against the rounded edge and then pull it straight up. Then you can gently open your pliers, pull that wire that you just pulled straight up through, and then clamp the pliers back down to flatten out the top of the wire. This has made one single glasses frame for your pair of glasses. However far up the pair of pliers you put it is going to gauge how big your frames are. So make sure you put it in about the same location when you do the second frame. You're going to do the same process, pull it over the rounded part, slightly open your pliers, pull the wire through the center of the pliers, and then you're going to flatten it out, and this is going to make the second frame of your glasses. This may take a couple times for you to get the shape that you really like. If you're using a really thin wire, it should work easily. If you're using something thicker, it may just take a little bit to form it correctly. Once you're happy with the frames, you're going to hold on the edge of one of the frame sides and then pull the wire back. This is going to create your earpieces. The earpieces are going to be extra long at this point, but that's okay because it's going to help you hold on to the glasses during this next step. In order to freeze the wires in place, I am going to be using this diamond glaze to go over the top of the wires, making sure that I have encased it completely. And this means I'm going to run the toothpick along the top and then inside the upper part of the frame. I'm not going to be putting any glass-like material inside of it. I think they look good without the glass, but this is how it's looking once it's dried. If you are putting this on a doll, you can just cut the ends of the frames flat. You don't have to worry about rounding it because you're just going to glue it into the doll's hair. But if you're not putting these on a doll and you're just going to set them on a desk or on top of a stack of books, you can round out the earpieces so that they do look like a complete set of glasses. You can also bend these over so it looks like a folded up pair of glasses. Super easy, super fun, and a cute detail to add to a scene. Now let's talk about this dollhouse chair that I made for Dollhouse Dad. Because I made the doll in a permanent sitting position, I felt like it was only right that I made him a special chair. So I took the image of this house from Laurie's channel. There's a photo where Laurie and her dad are standing on either side of this beautiful dollhouse. I decided to take it apart in Photoshop, put it into Inkscape, and create a design around it to turn the entire thing into a bench. It took a little bit of concentration to figure out which pieces needed to be on which layer, but in the end, I'm so happy with how it turned out. I wanted just enough detail so you could tell that it was the house that Laurie and her dad had built together, but I also wanted it to look like a carved back of a bench, so I didn't want to go overboard on the details. However, I couldn't help but include a few of the bushes that go in front of the house. Once everything was glued together, I could start assembling the chair. This is from a chair design that I have in my store. I just kind of stretched it out to make a bench. And this worked perfectly because of the width of the dollhouse, and I think it fits Dollhouse Dad perfect as well. Also, if Laurie wanted to add someone else or another prop on the chair with him, she totally could. I added some arms so that he could lounge to one side, and then I was able to start sanding the edges. I did want it to look a little bit more worn, and of course I had to paint it brown. I wanted it to look like a carved wooden bench, so brown is the way to go. You know I love brown, so I was all up for this. I used a Q-tip and some lighter paint to try and bring out some of the details around the edges of the dollhouse. And then I aged it with some watered down black paint, just giving it an overall antique look. And this was how I created the dollhouse bench for Dollhouse Dad. It's the moment I've been waiting for. It's now time to open the box from Laurie and see the item that she sent for the captain's quarters. Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at here. Let me adjust the camera. So immediately there is a lot going on in here. I'm so excited to dive in. This looks like the largest piece. So I'm gonna open this up. Oh my goodness. So I'd already seen pictures of this, but I had no idea how much detail was going to be in this. Laurie created a console for the captain, for the ship part of the captain's quarters. And as you can tell from the wire, it lights up. So I'm really excited to see that. The next piece looks like this piece here. Oh, I see. This is like a map table, and there's some like small scrolls in here. Okay, perfect. This is the remote for the lights, so I'm guessing I'll have some options on how I can change the lighting. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Okay. This looks like a computer piece, or like a piece of equipment that can go next to the console. So I'll turn that on. I don't know if you can see that because of my bright lights. So it has lights. I'll give you a close-up shot of everything. But wow, that's so cool. And one last box. And this is the chair that goes along with the console, which is so cool because I previously had a chair that was built for the 17th century portion by Dolphin Magic Pro. And now I have a chair for the spaceship section, which was built by Laurie. So that's so cool. Okay, I'm gonna put all this together so you can get a closer look. And then I'm also going to figure out how to plug in the lights so that you can actually see how the console system works. Yeah, so here we go. And I also need to pull everything out of the captain's quarters so that you can see how it looks in the captain's quarters, because that's the whole point. So, yay! Here's a better look at all the items Laurie made for the captain's quarters. It's just amazing, and she also told me she's going to be offering the console as a kit in her store. So along with her video and her channel, I will also be linking her store in the description box below if you want to check it out. So here I am just playing around with some of the lights. You'll have to let me know which color you like best. I think I'm partial to the blue, and just quick warning, I'm going to have some flashing lights here in a second. They're not anything wild, but just wanted to let you know. But there's so many modes and settings on this remote. It was really fun to kind of play around with what the lights could do. Of course, I had to add in the captain so we could see what the captain thought. The desk was the perfect height for the captain to check out some star maps as she's flying through the sky onto her next mission. So now let's move it into the captain's quarters. I had to clear out some things, but one of my favorite things about these miniature projects is trying to figure out the best way to place items. It's like a never-ending puzzle with a million solutions. Since the console itself is pretty large, I'm going to have to find the best place for it to sit, and then I can place all the other items around. This is also perfect timing for Laurie to send me this piece because I had just finished creating this upper walkway area where ultimately I do believe this is where it's going to go. And I also want to start working on some lighting, and so now I can work all this lighting in together with the other lighting I need for this project. And again, I had to put the captain in place so we could kind of get an idea of scale, and this is just so fun. I'm so excited. And I also wanted to zoom out a little bit so you can see how it looks in correlation with the 17th century portion. I decided to move the desk against the back wall. This is going to cover up the area that I wanted to be my door entrance, so I'm going to have to figure that out. But I do think it looks a lot better facing forward and is much more eye-catching with all the lights. And again, I had to play with the lights. They're just too fun.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
But I still think that blue is going to be my favorite, but you know, I can kind of change my mind as I go along. If you want to see how Laurie made this, make sure to check out her video. It is going to be linked in the description box below. So that's all I have for you today. Laurie, thank you so much for doing this collaboration with me. Thank you for building this amazing piece for the captain's quarters, and thank you for trusting me with the honor of creating a doll in the likeness of your dad. I hope you all have an amazing week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. I don't have any bloopers for y'all in this video, but while I was editing, I watched this clip backwards accidentally. And the way it looks like I just slammed the lid back onto this craft knife is frightening. So I thought you might want to see it too. And while we're watching things backwards, this is what my outro would sound like if you watched it in reverse.
Ja, dat zijn de wijs, zo aan de jongens die me de